Hello. We are on main stage in the setup for Frozen Junior. So I'm going to give you a little tour of our backstage setup for that. One thing that people might wonder, what is a prop, Stacy? So a lot of you may have heard me use my favorite terminology before. I like to describe a prop as anything that goes in the moving truck when you're moving from one home to another. So it's not the walls are scenery. It's not your closet is costumes, but your furniture, your plates, your mugs, your toys, light fixtures, anything that goes in the truck. So it's a loose description, but it pretty much works. So things like Frozen Junior, it's not really the same. We're not putting Frozen Junior into a truck, but it's still a good general rule. So here in our backstage right, we have Frozen Junior does not have a lot of props, surprisingly. We have a very small pile of furniture, crates, and a table that we use, that we store here in what we call the back shop. So those go on stage and off from here. That's where they live. We have, I try to supply water tables to my actors and crew because I really don't like water on my prop tables. It tends to wreck the props, and people need hydration. So we usually have one of those on each side. And here we have a sea of props along our upstage wall. And how I organize these is dependent on the show. So in this case, all of these things on the stage right side come onto stage from right. So it's quicker for the actor to grab from here. As we move towards the middle, I start to put things that we don't use as often. So these shackles, for example, are used once. So the mops are used a couple of times. That's quicker. It's a little longer to get to the middle. So these things are less frequently used, and also our performers have more time to come grab them. So we organize loosely based on that. We also have, one factor is practicality, such as these beach balls. These don't fit on a table very well, so they're in a box underneath. And this that you're looking at here is actually our video wall, so it's very fragile, and we don't want anything that's going to fall over or tear that or get knocked into that. So that's also a factor when we're laying out where things go. One other thing that I try to keep in mind is people tend to come very quickly out the doors and take corners very quickly, so I try not to put anything super breakable where there's going to be a bottleneck of people. One thing I'm particularly proud of for Frozen is our coronation regalia here, and these were another, I worked together with the electrics department to light these up, only I'm not going to show you that yet. We will, that's theater magic, so I'm going to hold that in reserve and let you wonder for the moment. But they are beautiful. This is 3D printed parts and gold leaf, which we don't use very often. It's not usually a good resource for us. It's very time consuming and rather expensive, but in this case it was very much worth the effect rather than using gold spray paint. We have our maypole leaning here against the corner, and like I was talking before about avoiding damage to the video wall, this is in a position where no one's going to knock it over onto any people or onto the video wall. So we have a few pieces of Sunset Boulevard and Annie stored back here because this is a fairly minimal backstage space show, surprisingly enough for such a major musical. So we do have the space to store these right now. They came in shipment, and here they have stayed. Over here we have torches. They're actual flame torches. They're called GAM torches, and we use these in Frozen. They are ostracized on their own special little table over here, just to avoid confusion. And there's a nice little setup there for the crew and cast when they're preparing for that scene. Onward to, we are now stage left. We've worked our way from right to left, and this is our puppet storage station. Olaf is having a little nap here. I'm very proud of Olaf, my bouncing baby Olaf. Our performer actually has shoes that she wears, little snow fluff shoes, and then so his body travels with her feet. She does a fantastic job, and he sings and dances. She's a puppeteer, not me. She does an incredible job. That was just a little preview for you. We also have here our Sven puppet, which is a full body puppet. His headgear here is based on a safety helmet, and our performer wears that on his head. He also has stilts that raise, so this is a fairly significant shoe. So he's probably 5 inches above the ground, and then he also has, this is about an 8-inch heel. Our performer is actually quite tall, so this reindeer is legitimate. And he has little leg warmers that go around his legs to show to be reindeer. And then his front legs are actually crutches. So he's balancing on his stilts and his crutches and his headgear, and it's extremely impressive. Very, very good work by both of our puppeteers. I'm incredibly impressed. So this was a group effort with the costume department. So I provided the puppet parts, myself and my team did, and then our costume designer, Miranda, supplied them with clothing to go along with these pieces of parts for Sven, and also our operator is visible for Olaf, so she needed a costume that coincided. So we worked together on that. So this is Frozen Props.